Thomas, you know what's the most amazing aspect when it comes to this record?
That you have it.
Exactly. Finally, a record I have. Hey, I know Ghost. Yeah, but this record has quite an interesting story, if I remember correctly. It became quite a lot of people became quite focused on it once more due to the fact that it got sampled, right?
Yeah, I think it got sampled a lot of times. I can't remember exactly which one, but it's. I think it got a revival actually last year, where suddenly the prices went quite high for this one. It's from 1973 from Los Angeles. His name is Shelton Kilby.
Wait a second, please. Yeah, Shelton Kilby.
And it's a jazz funk soul album that has amazing drums for sampling. I can't remember which one.
And it's quite versatile, right? It's not that every song is like this song.
It goes in a direction, and all songs are good. It's not like it's interesting records to get into. I think I could take one track at the time. Then I love this one. Then I love another one, and I thought I love Heaven Help Us instead. And now it was this stranger, poor wayfaring stranger. It's called this song.
And as I got my copy from you, of course, I desperately tried to see if you got me the better version or not. No, I'm just kidding.
I think this one is a quite nice version.
Yeah, for sure. Dante, you know this record? You like this? Oh, you're still muted. Wait a second.
Yeah.
No, you're.
Yeah, I know that record. It's a good record. It's a little bit too mellow for me, maybe, but
yeah, but sometimes mellow isn't that bad. Come on, you are not a bad person if you like it sometimes a little mellow.
I'm not saying that. I'm just aware of what I'm looking for, but about looking for something, as you can see, I'm looking for something, but to no avail.
Before you dig into the thing you're looking for, Stunty, how has your week been? Has it been a mellow week so far?
Not at all, but not necessarily in a bad way. So it's been quite eventful week, a lot of work, and not much records so far. Only one that I'll play on Friday if I find my cable.
You haven't found it? Okay.
No. I don't know what's going on here, but yeah, I just need basically a plug to plug the turntables to the computer, so I can have the microphone and the turntables. But I'll find it. Other than that, yeah, preparing for Den Bosch, I guess.
Already, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's been going on for some time now, and yeah. I guess, yeah, since last week I got a bunch of records that I could play if I'm currently going really deep into ethnomusicology ethnographic releases, like the Okora label, stuff like that. That's been
by coincidence or did you plan it that way?
No. I mean, that's what one of the things I'm focusing on these days. Lots of stuff that I love, lots of stuff to discover, and often either under the radar, in the sense that the tracks on there that appeal to me, I guess like the way, you know how you listen to a track, a song from Burundi,
Yeah.
and either you have the knowledge to understand what it is, or you hear it the way you want. You make
Mhm.
you see what I mean? That you
Mhm.
hear it as a folk industrial rock.
Yeah, from a certain perspective. Yeah,
Exactly, from an outsider perspective.
yeah.
And there's a lot of music like that in that field. Plus the fact that a lot of these records are still very much affordable. Some are, not all. there are some heavy collectors on that as well. But
Same old story, right? Yeah.
yeah, but it's
And
still.
does when you say not all, what's your impression so far? Does that also have something to do with the overall quality of the record and the music, or does it seem random to you?
No, I don't think it's random. I think it's just a lot of people who really are into music. How many psych records can you have? How many, etc. At one point,
Yeah.
like you want to titillate the ear in another way, and yeah, at one point, records like that become extremely appealing, especially if you manage to make parallels between this and stuff that is more familiar to you, and then you go. But yeah, I guess there's no records in that field that is extremely expensive. Like the most I've seen was like 150 euros, and you could probably find these records for less. But for how long?
Yeah,
I mean, most of them are like 15. Most of them are 15. So.
Okay, I asked Stanti. We go right back to you when you want to play some music, Stanti. But
Yeah.
let's go to Thomas. How are you, Thomas? How have your week been? Usual madness, insanity, or at least you're still with us, so that's a good sign.
I think if you just put your mindset that you'll work 24/7, then that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, short answer. Anything to add, or shall we go back to Stanti and leave it at that?
Then you can put everything into those hours. You just don't do anything but work. But things are getting good.
Cool, good to know. So Stanti is standing up. Maybe we'll give him another minute. Maybe you play another song, and then Stanti is ready to join us with also some cool music.
Today I feel like crying. Today I feel like dying. Today I feel like nothing is real and the world can't see I'm trying. There's something inside of me brewing. They think it will lead to my ruin. They look at me, but I want them to see that inside I'm only human. Why can't they see that I just want to be? I just want to live. I just want to love. Yes, love.
Thomas, was that a message when I asked you how was your week, and the next song you play is "I Feel Like I'm Almost Dying"?
I tell my story much better when I do myself.
Okay, tell us a bit about the record, please. If you
It's a psych rock folk record, 1968. Little bit feeling of I got the feeling of like the Doors, the feeling of it's a amazing record, but they're really difficult to find.
Okay, yeah, Metal Heaven Records already stated that fact. Stunty, you know it? You like it?
Yes, I know it. It's a record I've seen at record fairs and at dealers. When I say I use the plural, I don't mean to say that I've seen it like 10 times, but but yeah.
So wall stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you prepared to give us some music too, or do you still need your
Soon.
Soon. Okay, soon.
It will work. Now I know it will work, at least.
Okay, cool. That means we have to go back to Thomas and see. Yeah, me too, Daniel. I was 3 years old when that music came. That wasn't easy, but very beautiful.
I think it's nice to hear that you can feel like they're having fun while they record this.
Mhm. It's not
The-
forbidden to have some fun, right? Especially
It's
when you do
forbidden.
something. Yeah.
They might work with a big orchestra, but they're still doing things that it's not normally in those situations. And this is a record that is good from start to end. That it's so if you have a nice equipment, this would be amazing to listen to because it has so many stereo mono effects and a lot of different sound and suddenly it's quite
What I
low.
really enjoyed was he used this little synthesizer every now and then. It was
Yeah.
so sublime, and I almost said, okay, is this on the record, or is that might be an interference? But that was amazing because at a certain point he used it in the center of it, and then it was clear. Exactly, and that's this kind of reaction he of course wants to create sometimes with that kind of music, but I think it has a certain beauty, and it's nothing to listen to while you're doing your dishes, of course, but also if it's complicated and maybe not what you expect from a record when you listen to usually to Led Zeppelin. But this is also music, and it can give you amazing moments and impressions if you listen to it and don't expect always the usual pleasurement. I think it's worth the time.
This beauty. As I remember, you have this one as well, Standi.
Yeah, it's one of the first, very first library soundtracks I got, and this one is. I'm never sure if it's an actual movie or a library soundtrack, but this was released on Sermi, which is a library label. Often the lines are blurred when it comes to that, but yeah, I got that one. I don't know, maybe 25 years ago. Still enjoy that one. Yeah, it's the whole. I mean, this is from the whole Ennio Morricone team, anyway. So yeah,
Exactly.
it's not.
And again, also maybe in general, and I think we all three stand for it. Music also can be challenging from time to time, and we try to transport it every now and then. And then, of course, I get that it is sometimes maybe even annoying, and nothing so soothing that you might expect. but we try to cover it all in a way. And of course, if you invite Stunty, you have to be prepared.
Except that the tune I queued is nowhere near as challenging as this. And
Yeah,
I agree.
You exactly know what I mean. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not only, we are not only here to please and be easy and go the cheap road. It
No.
can be challenging. It can be challenging.
Yeah, if everything is just pleasant, then music become musak in a way.
In a way, yeah. So please accept that. Hello, Sasha. Nice to see you. Stunty, are you prepared? You are.
So this was T. Stewart. I believe his real name is Travis Stewart. What's interesting about that record is it's almost like a pop record. As you can hear, it was both electronic and acoustic. He's been around for 25 years almost. Like the first records of his I have are from probably like 99. But back then he used to have a different name that came to climax around 2008 when he did a fantastic, like a genre-defying album under the name of Machine Drum. So he's mostly known under the name Machine Drums, and he does more like electronica, ambient stuff under his real name. And like what he did, he used to do like some kind of like IDM. He was being released his records on labels like Merc, and then he went on Ninja Tune and he embraced footwork and did like an extraordinary novel version of that. It's a sort of dance music that is fairly fast, coming from Chicago, stemming out of Chicago house, but it's not house anymore. And then I guess he's such a good producer that he got hired to do some productions for pop stars and stuff like that.
Okay.
And that record was kind of I don't remember, like it's on a small label, but basically it's on a major. So they basically gave, yeah.
I play Stunty now. If you see the cover art, what does it remind you of? Don't you think it's a little bit 4AD-ish, just a little later? And also the music. I think he could have been part of 4AD.
I didn't picture it that way, but yeah, possibly, yeah. I mean, this is like this just evokes me like America, like California or something like that. But the thing is that as it came out, like basically, I don't know all the details, but I think they kind of gave him an opportunity to do a record like, oh, do you want to go mainstream? Do something a little bit like Fortet, stuff like that. And he did, and no one.
So this is not his typical stuff.
Not totally. I mean, you can hear some like his harmonic system, like the harmonies he has. Like there are some cues, but that track is like really beautiful. I think it's simple but well produced, interesting production, and because it was like on a sort of big label that they probably only I mean, remember they tried to hype it, but no one really cared for it. So it's one of these records from the not from the 70s that was on a sort of on a major label, but that will be completely forgotten, and like that the label themselves like, okay, this did nothing, let's forget about it.
Yeah.
But who knows, like in 30 years.
I totally agree. It just has to get sampled at some point.
Yeah.
Thomas, I can imagine that you quite enjoyed that, right? Or
Yeah,
maybe you even know it.
No, I don't have it, and I don't know it. And yeah, I enjoy that kind of music. I will look into see what I can find there.
What do you say to Liam's new design? Looks like a darts. Huh? Look like darts. Liam.
Looks like he's changed the drugs he's taking.
Yeah, exactly. Liam, I almost didn't recognize you. Thomas, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I see the red dot. Now, I see the red dot. Now something very, very special comes.
Yeah.
I see the red dot.
I think we go for a camel walk.
Okay.
right, Michael. Absolutely one of my favorite labels from South Africa.
Yeah.
And I can see I bought this one I was in South Africa for half a year doing a
But
movie.
why have you been to South Africa for half a year? Was Stunty there, or what was the reason?
No, I worked on a movie.
Okay, better reason. Sorry, Stunty. Sorry, sometimes you just have to.
And it's not that easy to find records in South Africa, but I have I got some connection to drive around and find some records. And I can see it's one I bought in Johannesburg.
When you say it's not easy, do you mean it's dangerous?
Both, huh?
Yeah, it is. If you don't know where you're going and with who you're going, it's like the center of Johannesburg. It's quite tough. It's taken over by a lot of bad people. It's a difficult place to be.
Is it like Stockholm?
No, but it's funny because usually when we say dangerous about a place to shop records, we usually think of dangerous for the wallet. Like in South Africa, unfortunately it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Stunty, have you ever been digging records in South Africa?
Unfortunately not, or fortunately not, because I would. Yeah, absolutely. I there's a couple of genres of South African music that I'm into, very specific.
Yeah.
That I won't find it anywhere else than there. So
get deeper into it. Also, as a person, are you the kind of person who would go there even if it's dangerous? Just for the record, I would say you are that kind of person.
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah.
You would, right? You would,
unfortunately,
right?
Yes. Yeah.
And
what kind of? Sorry, go, Thomas.
I'll say you just need to know where to go and who to go around with. Then it's not dangerous.
I know where to go, but I don't know anyone there, so that's the problem.
Okay, where would you go, Stunty?
Oh, I would go in the north, in the townships.
Okay. You think they have record stores, or would you go and not?
No, it's not record stores. It's not about record stores there. No. It's about like, do you have records? Or I heard you have records.
Okay. I heard you have records. Okay. But that's not the way you did it, or was it the way you did it, Thomas? How did you do it?
No, I had some working on the team from South Africa that took me around.
As a life insurance, or as somebody who knows where to go?
As somebody who knows where to go.
And it was the way Stunty described. You knocked at doors and said, "I heard you have records," or how can you figure it?
Already somebody knew somebody who knew somebody, and so I went to Soweto, where I don't think you would go there on your own looking for records, but if you know somebody, then they'll open up. Oh, he has some, and I know somebody who has some. And then I never felt unsafe going digging for records.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be. You have guards outside your hotel when in the night.
Can you turn down the music so we can hear you better, because this is an interesting story.
It's. When we did the shooting of the film, we had a hold up at one day with guns at this where we were shooting the film. So it can be dangerous, and there was rumors that there will be some coming to the hotel. So we had armed military armed people taking care of us. But personally, I was more scared of the snakes and.
So you stood there for 6 months, and after a couple of months, did it get easier to get into records, or how was it?
I would say in those 6 months I was there, I might have 3 days off in 6 months.
Okay.
It's not that you have time to do a lot of things.
Mm. Dante, you want to ask something, or shall we go on?
No, it's just that, like, unfortunately, South Africa, if you, I mean, even in like the big cities, you would find that, but like anywhere else, there are gangs everywhere. Like if you're born black in a township, like apparently, from what I've seen, you get dragged into a gang, and that becomes your life. People go to prison, go in and out from prison, and life don't necessarily cost much.
And Thomas, that's so true, Stanti. And Thomas, when what kind of records were you looking for, or what kind of what time period are we talking here?
I would say you just look for somebody who has record, and then you hope it's something you like. It's not like you have a certain, because people that I know people who has record, but the people I know don't know much about records. So it's not like, oh, I know he has this, but
so in other words, you don't discuss grading with them.
Yeah, it was like dealing with the normal guys in Denmark. The people I met was really nice. I had no problems at all with that.
I guess also it kind of depends. Like the records that I'm mostly looking for from South Africa, they're from the 90s. So that's already a little bit confusing for most people, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, that was a little excursion to South Africa. Stanti, where do you put us?
Well, we'll stay, as Thomas put it. He talked about the desert. So we'll stay in the desert, but just imagine if either Sheffield moved to the desert or vice versa in the late 80s.
Yeah, here we go now.
So that's a very interesting record in terms of origin. This is a single from an album. I have the album somewhere. This is, as you could see, the 808 state edit from 1988. So early 808 state. It's still Gerald, from a guy called Gerald. He left very soon after that. But this was originally produced by a certain Graziano Malozzi and Diwana Music. And it's a German record originally, actually. So it's sort of like Egyptian, German, by way of Manchester early rave scene. And I mean, the album is quite different. It has a sort of dancey post-punk feeling. Doesn't really totally work. This one, I think, really works. But I just love the fact that they appropriated the Acid logo that way, and they were selling merch. I wish I could find like the T-shirts of that, because that I would
make a tattoo. Come on, that's
Yeah.
easy on the
yeah,
forehead.
for sure. But to have an original one, huh?
Okay.
But the album is not easy to find, not cheap. This one is super cheap. It was distributed by Rough Trade, but it was Fun Factory, which is a German label that was doing like dance music. Not necessarily the most sophisticated one, but sometimes there are odd stuff like that.
But
Did you
Stanti,
know
what-
anything of that, Thomas?
No, I didn't know that one.
Stanti, what makes it stand out to 5,000 other records?
Well, you could hear like the Arabic singing on proper like dubby acid house. And it's not something from today, like a hipster thing. That was done in 1988, and it actually stands the test of time in terms of like old school house. It's a little bit like
For the tempting question, but I want you to state that. That's why I
Yeah.
asked. Yeah.
it's almost like a novelty record, but it's actually a little more than just that.
Thomas, you enjoyed it, I guess.
I do. Yeah. It's there's so many of those that it's where do you start to dig into it?
That's the point. That's why I asked, because
Not with this.
yeah, in a way with this, Stanti, because Thomas sometimes said something really, really amazing. Because how can I put it? Okay, I know how. You have to listen to so many not so cool / bad records to find out the stuff you present here. And what is the most valuable thing we have in life? Oh, I like Stanti always ask. Exactly, thank you. Perfect answer. Time. And having people like you who spend so much time figuring out the stuff that's worth our time is worthless. And exactly, excuse me. The opposite of it. It's so valuable that other people take the time to put out the stuff that is worth our time is invaluable. And that's the meaning also of those kind of streams. Of course, you don't have to enjoy every song, but if you listen to this kind of streams and listen for it to an hour or whatever, and find 3 songs you like and didn't know before, that's very well spent time, in my personal opinion, because that's way above the average in a way. Thomas, what do you have in your sleeves for us?
A lot of the time, I don't have time to listen to all the records that we have here in the office. And the next one is one of them. I think we have 20 copies of this one. We sold them for €8. And I was like, why are people buying this? And then I was like, okay, I need to listen. And I got the last copy we had, because it was not it was wrongly put on Discog, so it was not for sale anymore. So I got the last copy, and this one is called The Blues Started in Africa. one more record that's good for the big speakers. It's and again with a weird flute. There's a lot of flute songs in my collection.
Again, when did we lost the flute in contemporary music? And don't give me Andre 3000 now, Stunty.
I think we never lost it. I never
We
lost
lost
it.
it completely, Stunty.
No, I have records from all over the 90s with flute, even in rock.
90s is 30 years ago. Sorry.
No, but till the end of the 90s. Well, I guess
20 years ago. Okay, you're right.
maybe. Yeah.
We lost it. Believe me, we lost the flute.
If you say so, we lost the flute.
Please prove me wrong, but
No, I'm just thinking like instantly of some records I have with flute from the 90s that are pretty cool. But yeah.
But Santi, sorry, don't get angry with me. But if you think recently and think about
Oh
the
no, I'm
90s,
not angry.
that's the first sign that you are getting old too.
But if indeed Thomas played like a track called what? Africa Gave Us the Blues?
Okay.
Is that it, Thomas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Let's try that, Mario.
So yes, for me this is this is superb, but it also is something that if you have one very specific idea of what African traditional music is, which is insane, this should contest or like challenge that idea, I think, because you get like the same ground as blues, the train, the repetitive motoric drive of the drums.
Similar? Are you talking similar here? Yeah. No, wait a second, Santi. So this is the stuff you get into right now.
Yeah.
And that record, how does that came to be? Was it a record really from the country, or did some
Yeah,
label?
totally.
Okay.
It's the French national radio who had a department of musicology, and they
Yeah.
sent ethnomusicologists to record locally, to immerse themselves. They were not just sent there and had someone show them, like Thomas or me if we went to Soweto. No,
Mhm.
in that case, they had to
Yeah.
go there, live there, learned um, the culture, the society there, to see what was worth recording, and then they
Yeah.
did it splendidly. In this case, it's Jean Schwartz, the composer who I interviewed on my channel a year
Oh,
ago
I
about.
remember that one. That
Yeah,
was an amazing interview. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and he was a jazz drummer, but he was also a pioneer of electronic music. And this was, I think, this is from like 71, or
The record
maybe.
itself.
Yeah,
Okay.
the recording and the record. Yeah, this is the
So
first.
that was a whole curated series, or is
Yeah,
this a one-time event?
Okora
Okay.
is the series. It existed before being called Okora. It was the
Yeah.
same people, but I think it was around 63. They made it official. This is the Okora collection. And I think it stopped in 73, and then it restarted later in the late 70s or early 80s. But the original collection, it has about like 80, 85 records, and
Oh, wow. Okay.
they don't all appeal to me,
Of
like
course, yeah.
which is fun. It's like, it's not like, oh, I'm gonna get all of them. No, it doesn't work like that. It shouldn't. But a funny thing is that there's another record they did in the same series about Gabon, and I have it. It's really good, but it's very different from this one. And this one, I think, is much more appealing directly. And yeah, you can
But the record itself came out in France, in French.
yeah.
Okay.
But they were distributed worldwide, because like Okora is probably one of the 2-3 major label that had that sort of mission. There was one
Yeah.
in Germany, one in the UK. There was also one in the US. I mean, there was more than just one, but there are like 3 that really had the numbers. But Okora has the best logo, had the best history, and also the way the liner notes, the photographies, they had like proper artists who went there to photograph the whole thing, to document it. There's a book that came out in 2017, I believe, or so, about the Okora label, and the book itself is beautiful. It's cloth bound, and it's a very interesting story about one of the very rare attempts of the West to take music from outside of the West seriously and with joy, but also seriously.
Thomas, are you aware of that series?
Yeah, only because of Stundy. He told me about it. So,
Thank you,
so
Stan.
yeah, it's. I love to dig into stuff that's not that easy, and you need to really do effort to get those and find out which one are the good ones. So
Do a video about it, Stanty.
Sorry?
do a video about it.
Yeah, I think I'm currently in a sort of rabbit hole. I have identified the ones I want and that I
After you
know.
got the ones,
Yeah, but
you
you know
want,
what?
we'll do the video.
But the thing is that I have identified the ones, and last week I also find this one, the first
Yeah.
pressing,
Yeah.
from Persia, Iran, and this one, it's 2 long tracks, one on each side, and it's like when I listened to it online, when I found a file of it, like it didn't do justice to the record, because as soon as the voice started to sing, and I saw that it was going on for an extended period of time during the song, it was like goosebumps plus plus. So yeah, it was not that expensive either. It was like 20-25 euros or so, I guess. Maybe even I think I got it for 20. Yeah. So I mean, my point is, even the ones you identify, sometimes like double check the ones you thought like you discarded, because
it takes time. It always takes time. Thomas, what do you have into your sleeves for us?
Yeah, but just when I heard this one, I found a record that I found to put up on the OPC, and it's also from France. You can hear. This is
Tempting.
It's a really nice journey. But this one, it might be the easiest one to. It could get more and more complicated, but it's music I never heard before, and maybe Stunty knows more about it.
Yeah, it's a record I'm after actually. It's a very interesting lineup since it's Catherine Le Forestier. It's funny. I have with someone else. We have a French VC channel where we do live streams every Sunday, and we talked about her recently. She's the sister of a very famous French singer from the early 70s, 80s, and I mean he's still around. I think he's kind of like a popular figure of kind of a bit, outdated from the past. He became a bit cheesy. Like probably in the 80s, he probably sold out a little bit. But like in the early 70s, he was sort of like protest singer, French singer. But she, Catherine Le Forestier, she's a freak. She had like solo albums that are quite interesting. And in this, if I remember correctly, she's playing with Steve Potts, the jazz musician from the UK. And it's got like sort of like Don Cherry vibes, but with sort of like
Absolutely.
more,
Yeah.
yeah.
This record from is it Denmark, Stunty? Yeah, the best Don Cherry is from Denmark, right?
No,
Remind me.
no.
It's a Scandinavian pressing.
Then it's Sweden. Or if you're thinking about, but his best one is the origin pressing is from Italy, I think, actually. But Brown Rice. But I think you're
I'm getting it. I'm getting.
I think you're talking about music community or community music. The double album on Caprice, which is Swedish organic music. Yeah, Christopher said. I think it's the one you're thinking of, which is great. But Brown Rice is even better. But Thomas will have to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, Caprice is a very interesting label that was doing all sorts of music, like avant-garde, folk, psych rock, ethnomusicology. Yeah, but yeah, Thomas will go on because I wanted to play a track after, but I have to find it on the
Thomas.
record.
That's the beauty with Thomas. He's always prepared to chime in.
Is it me now?
Is it? It's you
Yes.
again. Yeah.
of the bass.
It's not really started yet, so it's still the intro.
Okay, it goes on and on. Okay, that kind of.
Yeah, it's. I bought the album in Den Bosch for this one, but the quality is so bad. It's from 1979.
Something I do not expect from Rough Trade, by the way. But hey.
No, but Rough Trade did this 12-inch in 1984.
Yeah, that came out later. Yeah.
The original was 79 or 78, I can't remember.
But that track is not on the album. That's exclusive to the 12-inch.
No, it's on the album.
Not that version. Not that version.
Well, it's a different version, but it's on the album. Yeah. The whole side of, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's the whole side B or something. I can't remember.
Whatever.
But there's two amazing albums from this guy.
Yeah, but that track is like a little bit different than what they usually do. This one is really, you could feel that this was made for, like, it's not. I mean, Michael's surprised that this came out on Rough Trade. It's 84. It's the same time Factory was doing Kong. Like, and all these bands like Pig Bag, it's exactly that kind of like Afro white funk, proto house music, and it's great. But you never see that 12-inch, never. I've seen it in collections, but I've never seen it in.
Is it again a Thomas Busk record? Impossible to get? I wasn't aware.
Not impossible, but it's expensive.
Okay. Santi, your reaction to this record? You have one?
Yeah, not this. Yeah, a sort of reaction, not necessarily specifically to that record, but to where we're going to with the the record before more in a way.
Ey, du kannst ja Englisch, das hätte ich gar nicht gedacht. Sandy, you have to react to this one. It's a nice one in a way. It's not meant nice, but it's a nice one in a way.
Well, no, I take it as a nice meaning comment. Anyways, it's this record is, as you can hear, it's pretty unique. It's like Andalusia music, but through the spectrum of New York minimalism, like the Steve Reich, Terry Riley. This is
know.
the second album of this guy, Carcascara. The first one came out. This one came out in 2022. It became really. I mean, they only did 300, and it's quite expensive. But they did a repress of that in 2023 that I think is still like affordable.
Stunty. Wait a second now. Now you're in a certain territory. Did you ever compare the repress to the original?
Absolutely not. I think I would say that so there is some differences in the artwork, and the first press is collectible. I would assume that since they only did 300 of it, and the reissue repress is also 300, it probably is from the same stamper.
So exactly. This 300 thing, when it comes to those kind of records, is a sweet spot. Any idea why, as you are also connected to the business?
Yeah, I guess I would say that when you release a record like that and you have no idea if it will find an audience, 300 is enough to have a distribution and to recover your costs if you sell all the copies, and if you don't,
it doesn't break. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, you do. This one sold out almost instantly, and so they could launch a repress of it. It took like almost a year for it to come out, but still, they could put it in motion fairly rapidly. And if you listen to the first album of his, same concept, not at all as good. This one is really, you could hear like this Andalusian like folk music, but with the repetitiveness, as some have noted here. It's a combination I have never heard anywhere else that way.
I know. Thank you for changing the topic, and I totally get why. But as you're also into the business of pressing records, and now that we talk about this 300, when I learned about this record here behind me, Stunty, look at you probably recognize the one I'm pointing at, the Monster movie. I was a little bit surprised in 1969 that Can put out, it's not totally clear how much, but between 400 and 600 copies, which is quite something when it comes to a private press, right? Or not at the time?
Difficult to say, in the sense that they probably hope to get a contract, which they did.
Exactly. That's what they hope for. They just didn't want to wait until the record industry responds. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And so basically they had to sell the records in the local market. And I don't mean Germany, but literally where they were. Or where they could like have a friend drive a few copies to that shop or that shop that way. But so yeah, if you don't realize that for most music on vinyl, there's a sort of do-it-yourself culture, then you're missing out on the vast majority of what the record industry is.
Say that again. The vast majority of releases?
Yeah, of the music industry on vinyl has a do-it-yourself dimension.
Until today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to say it out loud in a way, because usually we are not aware of it, and because we stick to roughly 2% of the records that has been released, and 98% of them are until today under the radar, right? In a way.
Yeah, I mean, here we are amongst people who have a keen interest in records. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching us, so you know that already. Of course, to what extent you know it, like everyone is different, and also some people are very happy with sticking to the main labels, like the stuff that you can share with everyone. I guess and Gnucha confirmed that it was meant nice, huh? See?
Yeah, I
dirty mind, Michael.
Immediately.
But in a way, it's true that like he wrote again. I read it. This is the kind of music you only listen to when you listen to too much music. Like in this, if you reformulate it a little bit, it's the kind of music you listen to when you exhausted the potential of the stuff that is widely available, I guess.
How can you get exhausted of the kind of stuff which is
No,
very
exhausted when you exhausted the potential, like that.
Mhm.
Okay, I know it now. It doesn't surprises me anymore. Like now, it's more like going to McDonald's. It's gonna taste the same every single time you go there. Like you can
Very good
count on
example.
it.
Very good example. Very good example. Thomas, we talked about exactly that one, right? Because Thomas put up an very rare and in an amazing shape Beatles White Album mono original pressing. And we talked about how Thomas loves Beatles, but do not listen to the Beatles anymore. And right? Which is in a way the same thing of the metal, right? You love it, but you say, hey, I know it.
It's packed so deep into the memory that I just watch the album and enjoy that. I don't need to spend half an hour, 40 minutes to listen to it. Because I know it's I would rather hear something I don't know anything about.
That's the way I see all of this. We could listen to a lot of music, lose less on the DAC or whatever, or even shitty streaming, but these are like 3 millimeters by 30 centimeters totems that first it's a reminder of the potential that we have at hand, but it's also, like Thomas said, it's a visual totem. Like you see it, if you already have experienced it, it's like you can almost like invoke everything that is in it just visually, which is one of the things that like people forget a lot when they talk about what is the purpose of collecting vinyl in our day and age. Like it's not just like the sound that we find great or not, depending on where you see, but for me it's like I like the ergonomy of listening, that there's only that much music per side. That suits me very well. And the active part of the active partaking in the music when you have to mechanically, manually to put it on, but also to be surrounded by these things that are, as I say, totems. Like you can have your own word for that. It's, but yeah, I'm sure Thomas have something similar. That's literally what he described, if I understood him correctly.
Before we go to Thomas, one question, Stanti. Do you purge sometimes? And if so, how do you choose?
Yes. Yes, I do, of course. There's two types of purge. I think there's one that is maybe a bit surprising to some, but I'm sure Thomas knows exactly. I'm not sure, actually. It depends how you buy stuff. But my first step for purging is right after I bought the record. Like,
okay.
I just bought the record. I play it. Oh, actually, I thought it would be something else. And I'm not even going to try to force myself to like it. No, it goes away.
Can you give us a percentage of how many records you buy? That
very small. Very, very small.
Okay.
Yeah.
So every 10th or every 20th record?
Oh, no, much less than that. Okay. Oh, yeah. It's maybe 1 out of 100.
Okay.
But still, like when you got like more than
one every day. One every day.
No. But yeah, I guess like one every other month that I buy that. Like, I shouldn't have bought this, and like, and it's sort of like a health gymnastic, like to be able to let it go instantly. I find it very very healthy, but also of course like when there's actually a third type, like the records that you got and you're not sure about them, and you will give them a few years, which means like 3 or 4 listens maybe. And at one point you nah, let someone have this. And then the more traditional purging, which I must confess happens just less and less
Mm-hmm.
because the more we go at, the more we know what. Basically, this is very abstract, but what I look in a record, new or old, but new to me, is I look for a bunch of things, but one of the characteristic is my own conception of timelessness. So
Yeah.
when that is one of the main things you're looking in a record or in a song, then why would you even want to purge it unless you have a business like Thomas, which is Thomas is a little bit different than me.
Yeah,
He
we
had
go to this in a second. Yeah. Yeah. So you never purge a record due to a shelf crash? Okay, now we go. Now we go to Thomas. Thomas, it's a difficult thing to ask you, as you are one of the largest record sellers in the world, but you're also a private collector. And maybe, if possible, can you distinguish between Thomas Busk, the private record collector, doing, in a way, a private purge? Is that possible for you?
Yeah, I always know when it's something for myself that I like, and I know when it's a good thing for the shop, and that definitely doesn't need to be the same.
Mm-hmm. Can you give us a concrete example?
Um,
Let's take the Beatles' White Album as an interesting example.
I think like the Beatles' White Album or big production. I heard an interview with Nick Cave where he talked about the same thing, and he said, like, you hear a song, you can't figure out, oh, what is this? Where does it go? And you're not sure if you like it or don't like it. You hear it again, and you're like, oh, there's something nice with it. And suddenly you heard it 20 times, and suddenly you know what it's about. You know everything about it, and it's captured in your head. Then you don't need to hear it again. You might play it for other people that you can introduce it.
Yeah. Have you heard that? Yeah. Okay.
Never listen to it yourself again because it's so deep in there that it won't help listening to it. It's in there.
May I ask though? You say you instantly know if it's a record for you, or if it's a record that is good for the shop. Your words. What is a record that is good for the shop besides a record that you will be able to sell?
I would say the one I collect myself is also a lot of the time collectible, and people want those records as well. But if you buy new stuff, then like new records, then you know that there's a lot of commercial for this. That did 3 other albums that are good, that I didn't go much into, but I buy it for the shop because I know it will be selling because it has a good, the artist has a good reputation. That doesn't mean like I like it. I will never listen to it in that case.
Yeah, it makes sense. So it is related to business in the end, like a record that is good for the shop.
Of course.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. You want to have as many good records for the audience as possible in all directions.
No, let's do a shop with only shitty records that no one cares for.
Only boring and shitty records, but cheap, Stunty. Cheap.
Yeah.
Music.
Oh, yeah, this one is not for me, but I love to listen to it. That's another case of it. I played it 10 times this week, but I normally don't like this kind of jazz.
See, Thomas, that was an unbelievable cool song because it really attracted the people and the gallery to share their opinion, and that's always what I love about it. To create reaction, even if it's a negative or not so positive reaction. And of course, we finally got Manfred with one song, but that's so cool about Manfred. Sometimes he has to suffer, but he sticks with us. And no, I'm serious, and I love it. He's open-minded. He says what he thinks, which is legit. And at one point you get it and say, oh, that's great. It was worth all those sufferings. But tell us about that record, please.
Yeah, for me as well, it's not the kind of jazz that I listen to, but it sounds so fantastic, and
I can
it
imagine, yeah.
not straightforward. It has a lot of weird thing going on doing the track. It's from 1970, and it's from Italy. It's one of those library records.
I was about to ask, are we talking library here?
Yeah,
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
and the guy who plays on it is Franco Goldeni. And I would say I put it up on the OBC, and
Okay.
if you like it, you should listen to the whole album.
Wow.
It's one to have.
Stunty, I'm very eager to hear your take on that kind of library stuff.
No, I mean, I like it. This one, I mean, currently, a lot of the jazz I'm looking for is somewhat similar. Like all the Martial Solar stuff is like I played his Electrode album on this stream a couple of months ago or so, I would say, and I've gotten a lot of other records of his from the late 60s. Not as big bandish, but with a sort of like, some people call it like a sort of cool jazz, cool factor, European, obviously. But I must say I'm very disappointed with Justin Peters, though, with his comments.
I'm always.
Yeah.
He has really quite a couple of months where he has been really, really weak, right?
Yeah, I mean, like he has decided when listening to this music, he made it into the soundtrack of a movie where I go from house to house in South Africa by night going for records. No, I would do that by daylight with the same soundtrack. You don't, like, night doesn't. No.
But
That's
Santi,
weak.
one thing to get serious again. But come on, we all love Justin Peters from the heart, as everybody knows who is here as a regular. Was that European jazz, Stunty, what we just listened to? And if so, why?
I mean, it's kind of in between, but I would say, yeah, it is still a little bit more European than American. You could hear it. Yeah, people say Big Bang, but it was still very minimalistic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, like if you had me guess without knowing, now I know, so I would have hesitated a little bit, but I would have gone with European anyways in the end.
But without a certain point, because there's no because, it's just a general feeling.
Feeling, but also because of the minimalist aspect of it. Like big band music, big band jazz in the US tend to be like a bit show-offy. At a certain time, like, and it's a library, so you see, it's not supposed to be a big band jazz record. It's supposed to be a record you use if you want to have that feeling. But of course, since it is supposed to be used in a different context than just listening to, it has to be a little bit more minimalistic than if it was a proper big band in America or wherever, since you need to save some room in the music for something else, the visuals in this case.
Santi, one question. Does the role that this is a library record plays more into the music than the country of origin?
Generally speaking, you would say yes. To the appeal, like when you hear it's like Italian jazz, like, then of course that's what appeals to you. But of course, the fact that it's library music, that it's functional, that it's supposed to complement something. I mean, after a while, you hear it, like the sparsity of the arrangement. It's very rare you got like something very elaborated. Like there are a few like fuzz, psych, rock libraries that are quite interesting, but then they don't have any singing.
Yeah.
Or if like there's often like library music, I guess appeals to me also in a similar way that dance music records do, like house and techno. Like it's not that it's missing something that you're, I mean, it's missing something that you don't necessarily miss, but there's room for more in it.
In a nutshell, because Emblazer is asking, of course we answer questions. In a nutshell, what is a library record, Stunty?
It's a record that was produced not with the intent and purpose of being sold and listened to, but given away or acquired by production companies in radio, theater, TV, movies, whatever back then, because it's essentially from the 70s and 80s for the most part, even if there are some from the 60s. And then the producer would decide to use or not to use this cue rather than song to put in, for example, if you watch the news on TV and sometimes there is some background music, that would be a library coming from library music. And a lot of movies that were produced cheaply, like in Italy in the 60s, 70s, they couldn't necessarily afford to hire a composer and an orchestra so they would use music that was recorded for that purpose, and then you would pay royalties.
Yeah. And in general, because on the German streams we handle it like that, and that goes also, of course, for the OBC stream, for the OBC wall of records. If you have a question, just write question Stunty, Thomas, Michael, or all question. And
Manfred, question Manfred.
Oh, Manfred, exactly. And we will answer that questions. This is also here to answer questions. So don't be shy. If you have questions, just ask. Okay. Stunty. Spannende Musik means exciting music.
Here you got your flute, Michael.
Which year? 1992?
No, 2021.
Okay, only 3
Um,
years. Okay, you got me here. But come
yeah,
on, the flute wasn't that standard. Come on.
but that's the thing. It's
Hmm?
because it's a sort of like layered groove. Like when a tiny thing happen, even if like then it becomes like, wow, that's what you see. The whole thing becomes a sort of frame to it. You know, there's this tradition for journalists or even for some VC channels to say like the top albums of that year, and
I've never heard of that.
yeah, yeah. So I think the last one I did was for 2020. And I've been saying, yeah, I'll do 2021, 2022, and like when I have time and when I have digested. It doesn't mean like the fact that they're not coming doesn't mean that I haven't worked on them, and I have like lists, and this album is still the one I put on the first place for 2021. This is, I think, the best in from my perspective, the best album that was released in 2021.
Thank
It's
you. Thank you for don't go into the usual habits and said you have to have this record. If you want to stay a human being, you have to have that.
no.
Thank you for saying under my perspective. That's I
Mm.
like.
And so this is a band called Love Songs. I believe they're a trio that collaborated with Ulf Schutter, who has done a lot of good music. Of
Hey, Dave.
difficult to define music in Germany. This is a German affair, obviously, which I'm sure you appreciate, Michael.
Yeah, no. Yes, but it has a little krautrock touch. Sorry.
Of course.
You agree? Oh, thank you for agreeing because it has.
Oh, totally. It is like sort of tropical krautrock, which
Yeah, exactly.
exists.
Tropical
It-
krautrock. I couldn't have said that in that beautiful words. Very
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
And the whole album is, I mean, this song is the is yeah, it's this. There's a sort of intro, and this is the second one, and I revisit it. Maybe I'll talk more about it on Friday during the stream. But yeah, it was a record that kind of came out of nowhere, that didn't get that much attention. I'm sure that people who listened to it, most of them liked it, but I really think that it offers something quite unique, something that
And Stunty again, 300 copies, yada yada yada. Or
I think a little more. I mean, it
Mhm.
was released on Bureau B, so like if it was sold out, it would get repressed without any difference.
And even if it's 300 copies, there is one less now.
Yeah. But yeah, it's quite funny to see how records like that totally fly by a lot of people who would be interested in that. Because yeah, as you said,
I love that question. Sorry, Stunty. I love that question because what gives it a krautrock rock vibe? For me, and then Stunty and Thomas, of course, if you like.
well, if
For
you
me,
listen,
it's rhythm. It's driven by rhythm and not by melody, and it just takes time. It doesn't matter if the song is 3 minutes 41 or 9 minutes 52, and you feel that. Just go for it. Don't care. Let's see how long we can go with it, and rhythm driven, not melody driven.
which is the tradition of German music throughout the age. German music is more about rhythm than melody, contrary to France, for example. And there's none is better than the other. It's just two different culture. For me, the main thing that makes it krautrock is the inner sleeve color, but which I love. Don't you love it when you get like a green inner sleeve, even
I'm
if it's
so
like a
excited
cheap one?
when I get a non-polylined green inner sleeves. I'm totally excited.
Come on, green is still like, but there is a sort of scene of German musicians from the 90s and 2000s who have embraced that whole like tropical Bavarian tropical, or like, because there's a lot of rivers in Germany as well.
You are just building up every stereotype that's possible, but just go on, you French man.
No, but there have been compilations of like this sort of sound that is unique, not necessarily uniquely German, but that find itself in a quite unique way with several incarnations around the same time. But if I was to give you an example of a krautrock band that would be totally connected to stuff like that, it would be Popol Vuh. Popol Vuh 100% has this kind of like very minimalistic and also almost tribalness.
Yeah.
Not everything they done, but like when you look at Florian Fricker, the stuff he did after, a lot of German musicians went into just intonation, which is this whole trance thing. So trance music in Germany, like not necessarily the same thing as like techno trance, but there is something to be said about that. In even Cannes, you were showing your 1969 record. In 1969, Holger Schukai did Cannabis as well, which is a 20-minute long trance tribal collage, krautrock collage. So
yeah, I agree.
that
Thomas,
makes you feel like you're in the steamy jungle of Vietnam or somewhere there. So yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. Thomas, you want to add something to krautrock
No,
from a
you said
Scandinavian
everything.
perspective?
Everything.
Okay, yeah, because I know when it comes to the topic of krautrock, this is Thomas gets very, very thin-skinned because I live in the epicenter of it, and I have records. Believe it or not, I look at the man. Look at Denmark. Look at Denmark. I have records he does not have. Can you imagine? Okay. Now it's this time of the evening where I have to say, last track.
I have like 30 seconds of the song.
Take your time, Thomas.
I have 30 seconds of the song, but it's not the last track. Is that okay?
Okay. Then you play 2 in a row, because this week I have to be the referee here. This week, for sure, the last track belongs to Stunty because he doesn't have it for 3 weeks.
Oh.
Last track is Stunty tonight.
Yeah,
So you can play two in a row, but the last one is Stunty tonight.
This one is just because I think it's interesting and it's a cheap record. So Stunty said I never play like really cheap records, and written by Anthony.
I'm just trying to provoke you a little bit, Thomas, and maybe it's working finally.
No, but this one is written by Anthony Carlos Jupin, which I love his work. It's orchestra by Ray Brown, which a lot of the stuff he does as well, and this is arranged by Quincy Jones. And it has a huge sampling in the first second. So I'll just play so we can hear them.
Wait a second, Thomas. Wait a second, because we have a question for you. Before you start, 33 and a third is asking, my wife is bugging me. She demands the Franco Goldani album. Any chance?
Yeah, I'll put it up on the OPC tomorrow.
See, you have a chance there. Sorry for the interruption. Okay.
I put it here so I also remember it. Yeah, it's so well produced and so, and it's. I think you can get it for 8-10 euro. This record, it's
Nice.
really cheap, and it's yeah. Every time I've found it, I just need to hear this sampling from Björk that it starts up with.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like the other record before with the orchestra thing, this one is really amazing as well.
Let me state one thing, because when I say this is now the last round, that doesn't mean, I know you know us guys, that doesn't mean we are gone in 5 minutes. The last round usually takes us 15 to 20 minutes. So stay with us. Stay with us. Sometimes it took us 45 minutes. So hey,
Yeah.
relax. So, but that was the 30-second thing, right? And now your last take for today comes now, right?
Yeah, and I think we didn't have any funk soul tonight.
No, we haven't. We haven't.
And that's the category where I've with a lot of albums that I really, really like. So
here we
get
go.
a chance for you to hear this one.
I know that one. It's amazing.
And here you get it again, Michael.
Outlaw, talking about an outlaw. Outlaw, talking about an outlaw. This is the story of a modern outlaw. This is the story of a modern outlaw. I woke up early one morning, trying to make myself a day's pay. But the boss Saturday's construction, yeah, said he couldn't use me today. I went on back to my house. Went on back, just as quiet as of my house. There I saw my wife and my children. They was watching me. Oh yeah, they was watching me. Yes, they was. They kept on watching me. Oh yeah. They was hungry as can be. Outlaw. Talking about an outlaw. Outlaw. Yeah. Talking about an outlaw. Oh. Went on back to my dressing table. There I got my gun, oh yeah. Put it in my pocket, yes I did. And I left the house on the run. The very first store that I came to, I said, Mister, listen please, I don't wanna take your life, but you got to give your money, oh yeah. You got to give me your money, yeah, yeah. Give on up that money, oh yeah. Ha! Oh yeah. Give it up, ha! Oh that outlaw. Talking about an outlaw, yeah. Outlaw. Outlaw, yeah. screaming. There's no place to hide. They've got me all surrounded. Cut off, oh, from the ride. I guess I better get myself up while I'm still alive. I didn't mean to take his life. No, I don't wanna die. No, 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 no. I don't wanna die. Oh, no. I don't wanna die. Hey, no, no. I don't. Not now. Oh, no, no. Oh, outlaw. Yeah, 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 yeah. Talking about an outlaw. Oh. Outlaw. Oh, oh, oh. I used to be an outlaw. Oh, oh, oh. Hey. Yeah, outlaw, yeah. See the
Wow.
Yeah, I think if he made it a few years later, it would have been a disco track. But I would say it's
Okay.
a old
It
funk
was
track.
too early. Okay.
It's from
Okay,
1970.
Come again. Sorry.
It's from 1976.
Oh, wow, that's early for that kind of stuff. Yeah. So now we get into the last take from Stunty, but before we will get into that take from Stunty, during that stream, I had some significant thoughts about the Wall of Record stream. And those two gentlemen I'm doing this with have no idea what I'm talking about now, but we will talk about that after the stream. And if they agree, we will see significant changes to the Wall of Records stream. And I think we all will benefit from it, but we talk about it before we announce it. But that will make a significant change. And I was inspired by today's stream about this. We will talk behind the scenes. And next week, you will see the very last Wall of Record stream before we go to Den Bosch. Then we have a little break. Then we go back. But there might be significant changes. We will inform you about that. And now we go to Stunty, and he will give us the last take for tonight.
I will just give a little of an explanation before that, not an explanation, but context. As we earlier, someone asked the question, or maybe you asked, Michael, about like the purging. And this is a record I'm going to play that I bought it for DJing purposes. And I couldn't find how to play it when I got it. So I was really in a position where like, oh, I can't do nothing with that record. There's something to it. I sense it, but it doesn't work with what I want to do with it. So I was almost about to discard it, but I kept it and found a couple of things in it. And yeah, I'll share with you.
Okay. Thank you. And while the song we will blend out and thank us for joining and see you next week. Thank you all for joining us. See you next week. Bye.